Welcome to Lakeshore Focus, a weekly show highlighting challenging issues, fascinating people, and important events in our region. I'm Keith Kirkpatrick. If you turn your radio to your local hit station, you'll likely hear a variety of music, a large portion of which would fall into today's genre of hip-hop or rap. Aside from fresh rhymes and hot beats, this music brings along a controversy in regards to the effects its lyrics and subject matter have on today's youth. With us on the show to discuss this ongoing debate in our society is Jeremias Alicea, an educator with positive approach to teen health, who is quite experienced in the world of music. Now, I gotta add that in because you actually are a rapper. Is this true?
That's right. I'm a rapper. I've been doing this for a little over 15 years on a professional level, and I'm really excited about it.
Okay, so, yeah. I'm confused because you do not look like a rapper. Is there a stereotype to the rapper?
Yeah, there have been stereotypes depending on which decade you live in. First there was the gangster rapper, and even before then, even in the 70s when hip hop was first kind of emerging. There was all different type of stereotypes of the kind of person you'd be. Sometimes it was track jackets, it was track suits, and then after that it was the gangster look, and then it was the baggy jeans, and then it was the chains, and just moving on, and then in the 90s it was the backpack rappers. And
okay, you don't have it. Wait, you don't have the baggy jeans. Yeah. You don't have the sweat clothes. Well, you kind of got a little bit of that, but you don't have anything vulgar or weird on your on your clothing. Isn't that part of it too?
Yeah, sometimes in the stereotype world.
Oh,
maybe.
chains.
Yeah,
also,
chains.
Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, no. Well, when I was younger, like I said, I've been in it for a really long time. So when I was younger, I did a lot of this stuff. I did a lot of the baggy jeans. I didn't really wear the chains, but in the 90s, when I was really doing it a lot, I just didn't really focus a lot on the chains and stuff like that. But I did have the baggy pants. I did wear the back then. There were stores out there that were promoting that kind of thing, and so I was grabbing anything that I could to make me fit the part. I wasn't raised in a predominantly urban area or anything like that, so a lot of it felt unnatural for me. And
so where were you raised anyway? I
was born in Hammond. When I was born in Hammond, and I lived in Hammond for about 4 or 5 years. But as I got older, the majority of my life has been in Highland. And so I went to mostly Highland schools and Highland High School for 3 years. And so that was my primary focus. I was in an urban area.
You're a region guy.
Yes, absolutely.
But I want the audience to know to the extent that your kind of career or your involvement, because I mean, there's a lot of people who probably call themselves rappers, right?
Right.
So, but you've actually done some professional recordings, and mm-hmm. The thing that's probably most intriguing is you were in a national competition last year, right?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I auditioned for a group called Actors, Models, and Talents for Christ, AMTC, and they gave me the opportunity to go down to Florida for an event called Shine. And what we did there is it was basically just talent from all over the United States, even some parts of the world, that actually came in and did some performing. And so it was actually blacked out in levels. So you would go in, you'd do your talent show, and if you were successful, the judges would actually have you go to the second round.
So how well did you do?
I did very well. I was asked to go to the second round. I was one of the first contenders. I actually won a second place award for being in the contest, and I got callbacks from major record labels, including Capitol, EMI, Sony, and Universal. And so it was really great.
Besides those, is there anybody left besides those? You named all the big names, so that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a little confused here because I could have swore that in this competition I heard the word Christ at the end or something to connotate religion.
Yep.
In this. That seems to fly in the face of what I think most people see as rap and hip hop. How can that be oriented to religion?
Yeah, well, it's funny because that's actually controversy in itself. The idea of, rap in itself is already a controversy, but the idea of merging gospel and hip hop together has been a tremendous controversy ever since it was started.
Why?
Since its inception. Because it just seems so contradictory. The idea that music that once represented, and still in some ways represents, talking about sex and drugs and alcohol and risky behavior and all these things that people associate rap with, is trying to merge that with a positive message or with a Christian message only to some seems contradictory. And you would think, well, because of the fact that the lyrics are different, that people would receive it more. But the problem that the church has with it is because of the fact that it has a beat and it has something that causes people to want to tap their feet or move or dance or whatever it causes people to do. In their eyes, it kind of mimics the world.
But that's not every church anymore,
Right.
because a lot of churches are doing contemporary music.
Exactly.
And they are tapping their feet and moving around.
Moving
right.
around, right.
So we've got really different kind of segments here.
Yeah.
Why has is it rap and hip hop, or what term still is used today?
I used to tell people all the time, I believe that all rap is hip hop, but not all hip hop is rap. Hip hop is, and you can do whole lessons on it. I mean, people have taught whole classes on it, and to try to cram it into 20 minutes would be impossible. But hip hop is a culture. It's beyond just music. It's breakdancing. It's spray paint. What they call tagging. It's DJing, it's emceeing, it's being in what they call cipher battles, which are rappers getting in circles and kind of rapping against each other, battle rapping. Sometimes it's for fun, sometimes it gets serious.
Battle rapping, that sounds kind of sounds kind of interesting. Before we go much further in the show,
sure,
you should give us a little sample of something so we can really see that you're legit. Did you want to lay something on us here?
Sure.
Can you do this sitting here?
Yeah, I can do it right now.
Can you still move?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes like this. I'm grammatical, fanatical, never whack, compatible, shatter battered MCs blowing up like I'm a radical, sabbatical, never that. I'm forever blazing, whether you're white, black, or Asian. I'm steady rocking the nation. Lyrical machete swinging chop when my beat drop. Rocking opposition. My position is to mic rock. Tight spot, get in them, spinning tight like linen. Been in the game so long, it's in my jeans like denim.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, thanks.
If we had an audience here, we could hear applause. But I can hear the applause out in all the viewers.
Yeah.
The ones that liked it.
Yeah.
Now there are people who go, I hated that, right?
Yeah, of course. You're always gonna get that, but I think you'll get that for any art form.
Actually, the other day I was talking to your boss at Path, and she actually falls in that category of I hate this stuff, right?
Yeah. My very own boss. She supports me, but not a fan of the music.
So you've taken this more a positive approach. You've just kind of drawn the line and said, look, I am not doing the negative side of this,
right.
Which I guess if we put in the sex and drugs and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because first of all, that's not the way I was raised. I wasn't raised around that kind of thing. Although I did appreciate the music that was out there because of the fact that I appreciated the art and didn't necessarily agree with the content. I really felt like that was a part of me because basically, just to kind of rewind a little bit, my uncle actually sent me a tape when I was 9 years old, and it was a really cheesy little rap by a rapper named Stephen Wiley, and the name of the song was Bible Break. And because I was never exposed to any kind of secular music, I listened to all Christian music growing up. Unless it was an oldies or something that my dad would listen to, but basically I would not listen to a lot of secular music. I wasn't allowed to. So when my uncle sent me this tape, I started listening to it, and I just fell in love with it. And it was, like I said, it was real cheesy, real corny. It was the first Christian rap tape that had ever broke out into the scene. It was like around the 80s,
But did that draw you then to want to hear the mainline rap and hip hop?
Absolutely.
Okay, and that had the vulgar stuff in it. That
Right.
had all the curse words and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yep.
So you listened to that?
I did.
Let's admit it, right?
Yeah, I'll admit it. Yeah, I did. And actually, because I realized that there was more out there than what I was limited to with the gospel hip hop at that time. But gospel hip hop has now progressed so far that it's even surpassed in some ways. It's surpassed even some of the secular artists, as far as I'm concerned.
So how do you appreciate the art when in the original stages of the art it was so tied to such negative and violent kinds of things? How can you still appreciate the art when it's that way?
Because there's a certain kind of energy and a certain kind of power that's behind the music that you're saying. Words are powerful. I mean, and I'm sure you know that more than anybody, is that words are powerful. The way that you express yourself is so powerful. And when you're doing something that you're passionate about, that your heart is centered around, that you feel like you're doing something right, if you're making a difference in the life of somebody, regardless if it's through hip hop or through speaking or whatever, that is what changes the face of the stereotype as far as hip hop is concerned.
So why do so many of the again mainstream rappers and so forth, why have they chosen to kind of go this? And I guess the description is it's sexually explicit. It really tears women down. Mm-hmm. It's a lot about violence. Are there other negative descriptions that go along with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a number of reasons why that could be. Some of it is because of the stigma. Some people feel like this is what sells, so this is what we're going to do. There are people, they used to call them studio gangsters in the 90s, where there were rappers who've never even seen the streets or the gangs, but yet they'll claim themselves as a gangster rapper. So they're a studio gangster. So a lot of times they romanticize the stigma. They romanticize what they see in TV. They want to emulate what they see.
So do the young people, are they affected by that? I mean,
oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I'll give you an example. When I used to listen to that all the time, because I'm an advocate or a person that believes that if you constantly pound your ears and you allow whatever you're watching and your influences to just be continually consumed, that you're eventually going to start playing those things out. And I just remember, I wasn't a person that often swore or do anything like that. You know, like I said, I was raised in the church, but I remember when I used to listen to that kind of music, it did kind of have an influence on the way I talked, the way I act. I would watch the movies, and you know, for some reason there is this draw to it. Yeah, not participating in the activities, but just, you know, trying to dress the part, talk the part, and as far as the and to be fair, a lot of it is gimmicky, but on the other side of it, there is a legitimate, some of them are actually telling their stories. And this is the way that it was when they were growing up, because I did spend some time, my parents are from East Chicago, and I spent a lot of time over there. I lived there for some time, and I spent my last year of high school at East Chicago Central High School. So I actually got to see what the urban life was like and how some people were going through some of these things and dealing with gangs and all that. That's real stuff. That's real life. That's people expressing the way they talk, the way they live. And so on that side of things, I could identify and see why they're speaking the way they do. It's because that's all they know.
So what does a parent respond or an adult respond when they say to young people, you need to quit listening to that stuff because it's going to affect you? And that young person says, no, it's not. I'm not going to let it. Yeah. And they do that, right?
Yeah, parents will do that.
Well, how about the young people? Isn't that their response sometimes? This is not going to affect me.
Yeah.
You're silly. In fact, they sometimes say, you're stupid if you think this is really going to affect me.
Exactly right, yeah. A lot of times that does happen, and that's unfortunate because, we know that, just scientists say that the human brain doesn't fully develop until you're in your mid to late, actually early to mid 20s. Sometimes we don't get things until it actually happens to you, or you actually see the effects of it afterwards.
So how do you convince somebody, and you work in this whole field because you're working with young people all the time, trying to get them to think a little bit differently about a whole number of things, a positive approach to their life.
Right.
How do you get them to realize that is going to affect them?
Well, first and foremost, I'm an advocate of personal relationships, and I'm not one of these people that try to come at people like, don't do this. I've never thought that worked. I'm always I believe that rules without relationship leads to rebellion. I believe that if you have a relationship with your child and that you actually talk to them instead of trying to convince them or force them to do anything, just talk it out. Have an open dialogue about this kind of thing. Give examples of how it may have even affected your own life, or people that have been affected by it. But if you kind of come at them and you're kind of directive and saying don't do. I understand that parents have an authority and they have a responsibility and that there are rules in the house and those rules should be followed and respected.
What was that phrase you used a moment ago? It was rules. What was it?
Rules without rebellion. Rules without relationship lead to rebellion.
Did you can that yourself, or
I
steal
did,
that
and I actually took that from somebody, and his name is Josh McDowell, actually, a well-known speaker. But I never forgot that because I believe that it's true. I believe if you have a relationship with someone, if you can actually have open dialogue with your child, have open communication with them, just be willing to just hear what they have to say, because what they have to say is important. I used to go in front of teens and I would say, how many of you in here have ever had a parent tell you not to do something, and when you said why, they said, because I said so. While that is,
they all raised their hand.
They all raised. A lot of them did, yeah. And while there is some truth to that, because it is they are the authority, you should listen to them. The reality is that what if that is a legitimate question? Why? Why can't I do this? What if they want to know why? And so understanding is key.
So, do you always talk this fast?
I do talk fast.
So is that? So which came first? You always talk fast, so it made it easy to rap, or the rapping has made you talk faster?
Yeah, I don't know. The chicken before the egg kind of thing. But yeah, I do tend to talk fast. I'll try to slow down. But,
well, I'm keeping up. It's okay.
Yeah.
But is that effective with young people talking that fast? I mean, are they comprehending it, or do you slow down for emphasis? I mean, how does that work?
I do slow down for emphasis to make sure that they are getting the point. I really believe that a lot of the reason why I talk so fast is because I have a lot of information to share, and I'm very passionate about
trying to
that
get
information.
it all out.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about that, and so my mind's constantly running in that direction, and I'm constantly just saying, you know, I just want to share with what I have, you know, and sometimes I do slow it down so that they'll get it. But.
So what do you say to the young person who comes up and is kind of doing, you know, all the gangster kind of motions, and they're trying to be so cool about it, and they're trying to lay out some rap, and their mouth is just running vulgarities? I mean, how do you respond to that? What do you say to that?
Well, first of all, I would say to them, why are you doing this? Are you doing this because you're trying to emulate someone else? Because if that's why you're doing it, then I would tell them, be original, be yourself, be who you are. Don't do something because somebody else is doing it or because it's popular.
What's their answer when you ask them that? Why are you doing this? What do they usually say?
Sometimes they'll just kind of give me this blank stare, like, you know, but that's
really
what's selling. Yeah, and that's like, well, that's what's selling. That's what's popular right now. And but you know, we don't want to be copycats. And yeah, that, and you know, a lot of the reason why it sells is because it's controversial, because parents don't like it, because there's such a stigma around it. And so I just tell the kids, I said, listen, you know, be real, be honest, be who you are, and that's cool. And if you're gonna say these words or whatever, just have a purpose behind it, you know. But I definitely don't encourage that. I don't encourage them. I just try to be real with them and say, you know, meet them at their level.
How do you come up with your stuff? And how many raps have you written?
Oh,
and you
tons.
You say spoken word and rap. I mean,
Yeah.
what's the difference?
Spoken word is more of a poetry with a rhythm, and people will define that in different ways. Sometimes spoken word can be just poetry with a beat behind it, poetry just without any music, but just kind of straightforward.
It's a fine line?
Yeah, it kind of has a rhythm to it, you know, and usually a message behind it. And that's how rap kind of started. In fact, one of the early raps that came out was actually called The Message.
So where do you get your inspiration for this stuff?
Inspiration comes from everywhere. If it's message-minded, then I will, like, you know, someone might say something that sparks something, or I might see something on TV, or I might have heard, you know, someone, you know, give a sermon or a message or something that was inspiring, and it might spark something in me. But it's really, the foundation is really in my values.
Do you have one that's more of a favorite for you?
The favorite rapper?
A favorite rap? No, one of yours.
Oh, one of mine that I've done.
Yeah.
Well, that actually would be kind of hard to kind of just pick one. But there are two kinds of raps that I have. I'm more of what they call a conscious rapper. So it's a rap that has message behind it. But also I like to do fun battle type raps too. So.
Okay. I know. I got to see that last night in the battle rap. So you want to share one of your favorite ones, or you want to do the battle rap that you laid on me last night in front of 200 people?
I can do that, or I can do a spoken word if you like about the stereotype. I can kind of bring that up, but
you pick. Go ahead. Publicly disgrace me. You did it last night. You know, these people don't know that I can rap too. So
okay. Well, the whole point of that rap that I wrote, I actually had written that rap a while ago. The whole purpose of that was to talk about secular rappers who thought, you know, that gospel rap, you know, wouldn't be able to hang. So
we'll do the first. Do the first
one.
Part of it because we've only got.
It goes like this. I infiltrate the minds of the frustrated and made it worse. I'm dispersing verse after verse without cursing, no need for rehearsing. Commercialized MCs, they feeling the breeze of my tornado. They're creating rhymes with clay where brothers is messing with that Play-Doh. I never come whack, I'm packed with stacks of energy. I never demand respect because respect's demanded me. I terrorize the secular mindset, don't get me started. I carded your rhymes, they were too young so they departed. Broken hearted master of ceremonies, you're kind of phony, couldn't get play on the station even if your name was Sony. Cheesy like macaroni, that seems to be your craft. You think that's kind of cold? Then stop standing in my draft.
Last night it was a lot more personal because you put my name in it.
Put your name in it, yeah.
And you kept pointing to me. You know?
Yeah.
So, you know, I didn't bring my rap stuff, so I can't do it. But I did think last night after I was going to do my rap, I was going to like drop my pin in front of you or something. You know, trying to do the motion to kind of get back at you.
Yeah.
So, where are you headed with your career? We're down to really kind of a minute or so, but
Okay.
where are you headed with your career?
Well, I actually did sign with a record company called Tate Music Group, and so what I'm doing is I'm going to be recording with them next year, early next year. I'm going to be laying down 8 tracks, brand new album. I go under the name Prose, or Prose the Antidote, and so I'm going to be actually doing that and kind of packaging it, trying to get it out there. It'll be on iTunes, Amazon, all your major retail stores sometime mid next year. So.
Now, if people want to follow you, they can, right?
Yeah, they can follow
do
me
they
at
do?
Twitter, Prose. It's Prose, no cons, all one word, NOCONS. So Prose, no cons. And that's my Twitter handle, or they can look me up, Jeremias Alicea on Facebook, or Prose the Antidote on Facebook. I definitely welcome likes. As a matter of fact, all the major record labels who were interested said that if I can get at least 1,000 likes, both on Twitter and on Facebook, that they would seriously consider getting me, because they know that I'd be able to sell records.
So our viewers should try to come in and check you out. You could be on YouTube and that kind of stuff too, right?
Yeah,
So,
I actually haven't put anything major on YouTube yet. I'm working on that right now, so
okay,
that's what I'm
so
working
we'll be
on.
watching for it.
Yes.
Thanks for coming and
Thank you
sharing
so
this,
much.
and I like the rap. You've taught me a lot, and I'm looking forward next year you and I continue our battle rap.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks,
All right.
Jeremiah.
Thanks a lot, Keith.
You've heard that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Does the opposite apply? Does 1,000 words create a picture? No matter what the form of writing, someone is attempting to convey a message, tell a story, create an explanation. The author chooses words that will stimulate us to think. In this busy world of noise and constant activity, do we take the time to truly savor the meaning of the words before us? When we were in school, we were required to take English classes and sometimes speech. The teacher would challenge us to explore a written piece and analyze the meaning. Many of us thought that the exercise was ridiculous. It was painful to try to pull the meaning from a page written by someone 300 years ago. How did the teacher even know what that person was thinking when he or she wrote it? In class, we were asked to think, ponder the possibilities, and then totally embarrass ourselves by sharing our thoughts. As I look back, I see what that frustrated teacher was trying to do: get us to think and think deeply. That educator wanted us to consider the depth of meaning behind those words, allowing an image or concept to imprint upon our meager brains. Today, I see how valuable that ability can be. It helps us consider other points of view, review new ideas, challenge our entrenched thinking, and feel emotions. It can paint pictures in our minds, take us to faraway places, and explore other possibilities. Words are important, particularly when we exercise the skill of thinking. First, each of us needs to take the time to read and listen. We need to do this more often because there is something to learn. More importantly, we each must stop and consider what we have read or heard. Have you ever watched someone read, then remove their reading glasses and gaze into space? I assume that person was thinking about what she had read. I admired that thoughtful glance and even wondered, what is she thinking? Maybe that person who is contemplating should be one of us. Now we're waiting for you to stop and think about the words on today's show. What came to your mind as you pondered our remarks? Email your comments to focus@lakeshorepublicmedia.org or reach us through our website, which is listed on your screen. Join us next week for another Lakeshore Focus. I'm Keith Kirkpatrick saying, make a positive difference in our world today.